Hi guys, I'm Sarah Kline and I own Time for Travel and we are based in Annapolis, Maryland. So I'm a mom of three 20-somethings. I've been married myself for almost 28 years and I have been doing this for almost 30 years. So our specialty is love and fun and making the process just super easy, relaxing, and the perfect experience. So we are going to jump into some questions and get to know what our destination wedding couples want to know for their 25, 26, and now even 2027 weddings. So let's jump into some of the most popular questions that we're getting. So you're planning a destination wedding. Where do you start? Oh, I think the very first place you start is to contact a destination wedding professional and let them pick your brain. That's my favorite way to start, is really to get to know our couples and ask all those important questions, the things that they hadn't thought about, because you're dreaming and you're planning, but we're here to kind of bring the reality and the logistics into planning a destination wedding. So reach out to whether it's someone local in your area, someone that you maybe find online and think you would mesh with, and interview a couple. Like, make sure this person really meshes with your vibe, your style, and is listening and is really, really listening to what is going to fit. I tell my couples all the time, I don't care what you pick. Like, yes, we have our favorites, but I just want it to be exactly what fits you guys and is going to make you happy. So we're here to guide you through the process. What are the pros and cons of using a destination wedding travel advisor? Well, there's no con. I mean, absolutely none. We're a resource. We're here to have your back, from helping you pick the perfect resort, to dealing with your crazy aunt, to all of your friends and family's payments, to just every little detail. We're here to put out fires, to make suggestions, just to make everything perfect. So there is no con to using a destination wedding travel professional. One bit of advice though is to make sure that that agent or agency that you're using is truly all about destination weddings. You know, there are a lot of travel agents who maybe do this on the side. There's, your friend or family member who's maybe a planner of weddings and think they can jump into kind of this aspect of doing full service destination wedding planning. So make sure that you vetted the person that you're working with or the agency. And another big thing is make sure your personalities match. You're going to be talking to this person or this group for sometimes 2.5 years through this planning process. And you want to really make sure that your personalities mesh, your schedules mesh, just all those things. It just makes for a better experience. Another question that we get a lot is kind of after the pros and cons of, do I need a destination wedding planner, is, do I need both a travel agent and a wedding planner? They are different, so it really depends. And we will kind of counsel our brides and grooms and our couples to see what aspects they need. So larger weddings, some of the South Asian weddings, multi-day events, you really do need a separate wedding planner in addition to the travel agent. And we will be happy to make suggestions and tell you if that is something we really think that you need. On the flip side, if it is, say, 25 people, 50 people, it's at a resort that we work with often and have connections, and you're not planning something crazy elaborate, really keeping it to the simplicity of what a destination wedding is all about, then we really can handle all aspects for you between the team at the resort, our team here at Time for Travel. We really can kind of help you do that. Now, if you are working with another travel agent that maybe is not versed at all on the wedding side, that may be something to consider. So that's really a case-by-case situation on if you need a travel agent and a wedding planner. First, make sure that your travel agent is a destination wedding travel agent professional. That is a huge help because they'll be able to tell you that if what you're asking for is a bit more complex and should also require a wedding planner. Popular question when it comes to planning a destination wedding. How far in advance do I need to plan? Realistically, it's August of 25. Could we still do a wedding this year? Yes. Depends on how many people are going. Like, can we pull it together? Absolutely. But can friends and family pull it together and afford to do it? So I think a lot of it depends on who you're inviting, if people need to budget, take off work, things like that. I think there's also the flip side of it is planning too far out. So we're already starting to get a lot of requests for 27, which is great, but about halfway through 27. So I think a year and a half, max 2 years, is about as far as you should plan. Because think about getting an invitation right now for something that's 2 years away. You're not going to act on it. You're not really going to jump on blocking that room and making that commitment. So I think the sweet spot is just over a year out would be my advice on when to present to your guests and send invitations and get that destination wedding all set. I am in the DC area. Here average is like $60,000 up to, I heard yesterday on the eastern shore of Maryland, $150,000 was an average waterfront wedding. That's crazy. Destination weddings, I used to say it were like a fourth of the cost, but hearing those numbers, I'm thinking some of them are a tenth of the cost. So one of the questions submitted was, can I really plan a destination wedding for about $50,000 in a $12,000 budget? The short answer is yes, absolutely. It's so much cheaper to do a destination wedding than a wedding at home. But you have to set expectations. You know, you are not going to have fireworks and come riding in on a horse or, you know, crazy extravagant things within that budget. But if you're looking for simplistic, beautiful I-dos, you know, on the beach or poolside, maybe a shared restaurant reception or something more just like cocktails, you really can do a full destination wedding for around that $12,000 budget. So again, part of our job is setting expectations, helping with what's realistic, and then suggesting those resorts that are going to fit those budgets and to make it a reality. Jumping back into the most popular questions. So what are the best resorts to get married at in Mexico? Ideally, an all-inclusive, adults-only resort. That is a loaded question. So instantly, all my favorites start running through my head, but it's about you. It's about your style, your vibe, your expectations, your budgets. So I can rattle off my favorites, but you could ask 20 different destination wedding professionals and we're all gonna have a different answer. I'm sure we'll align on a few of them, but that's what our job is to get to know you, get to know what you have in mind, and then make those suggestions based on exactly what fits your style. You know, we don't want to put you at a resort that's got like a party atmosphere if you're looking for quiet and intimate. We also don't want to put you at quiet and romantic and intimate if the adults only crowd that you're bringing is more singles, maybe a younger crowd. So we want to make sure that we're suggesting the right adults only, the right vibe, and also just all the aesthetics. You know, what do you see as your backdrop for your wedding? How many restaurants? Do they have all the facilities? You have golfers and just so many different things. So that's a really broad question, but can easily be answered by just a simple Zoom call, you know, jumping on and really getting to know each other a little bit. So another big question that I know is a pet peeve for so many planners and also for so many couples is what should I do if I'm struggling to get a response from the resort? So my first piece of advice, deep breath. They do work on island time. Very different than kind of I'm on the East Coast, so I always call it like the East Coast mentality, like go, 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 quick answers, we're all on top of everything. Their responses are like 7-10 days, which just seems crazy to most of us up here. But I think a lot of it is relationships. So if you need a response from a resort, from a wedding department, we have, speed dial. We've got it. We have the contacts. When we send them an email, they know, they work with us often. They see our email address come over and go, okay, this is something I need to pay attention to. I need to respond. So we're typically able to get pretty quick responses, which is different if a couple is just reaching out directly to the resort. For some reason we don't hear back, we do have management, different ways to go about it to get responses. So that's the main thing. Recently, one of our large resort chains, Hyatt, which is like the Secrets and the Dreams, changed all of their email addresses. So if you looked, you're Googling ChatGPT and you're getting these email addresses, some of them are old, and we were finding a lot of stuff was going unanswered, which was causing a lot of frustration. So reach out, we can put you with the right person. So jumping back into some of the most popular questions, a big one is, how do we choose the right destination for us? One of my personal rules is I love to send a couple to a destination that neither of them has been to before. I think this is a fresh start. This is a wedding. This is something you want to embrace together for the first time. So I think that's a biggie. And I think if you guys maybe go down after you've kind of narrowed down the destination to see it together, that's okay. But I love for this to be a fresh experience for both. But how do I choose? So a lot of it goes back to logistics. Who's coming, the time of year, budgets, those kind of expectations. Who's going? So if you've got a ton of kids or a lot of elderly grandparents, you don't want to make them fly, 10 hours, double connections, ferries, things like that are just really going to make the travel harder. I think another big piece of how do we choose, I get a lot of couples say, I want to go to Hawaii, I want to go to Bora Bora, and that's great if it's just you guys or maybe a small group. But realistically, if you're inviting lots of friends and family, to ask them to go halfway across the world maybe is not realistic. So what I try to do is sit down with our couples and say, where do you live? Where do most of your guests live? What do you think is going to be the most positive experience? Because not everybody's going to do maybe a full week or 10 days. The average destination wedding guest goes for about 4 nights. So I think it's really nice if, number one, you get them a nonstop flight, that's perfect. But if it's something where you can get them there midday, or when they're coming home, they leave midday, so they got a little time on both sides, and it's just not so hard. I think it makes for a better experience. So logistics are the number one thing. I think number 2 is the right type of resort. So I tell all our couples, if you pick the right resort, everything else will fall into place. So you want to make sure it kind of fits the style, the vibe, and the budget of those that you're inviting. So those are the easiest ways to kind of narrow down destinations. It's just the fit and the logistics. So jumping back into tips for planning a destination wedding. One of the questions we received was, any tips for family-friendly, all-inclusive resorts to host a wedding for about 50 people? So I love when we get at least a little context of like family-friendly or adults only. I really, really think that, number one, just helps us in looking at the resorts. But when you say family-friendly, is it teenagers? Is it lots of little kids? Is there a spread of ages that we kind of need to think about? Because a lot of our couples worry it may be too kiddie, especially if they're not their own children traveling. So that would be a big part, is to kind of tell us who's going. Also, what the expectations are. Do you need something that just accepts all ages? Or do you need a kids club, water slides, entertainment, things like that to keep them busy? Because there's different levels of resorts that are really, really family friendly, and then those that just accept kids. Punta Cana, one of my personal favorite destinations that we travel to quite often. So we have received a question about suggestions for good family friendly in Punta Cana and good food. So I'm a foodie, so I'm all about picking a resort that's got great food. Destination-wise, Punta Cana doesn't have like a signature dish. They're not really like known for their cuisine. So I think the biggest part of that one is to pick a really good quality hotel chain or just quality hotel. Kind of the better hotel is going to have the better food and beverage options, the higher end top shelf options for your alcoholic beverages, and then bigger is not always better. So sometimes people say, good food, it's got 12 restaurants, it's got to have amazing food. That's not always true, because that means they're just serving a lot of people in a lot of different cuisines. So I think honestly some smaller resorts that maybe have less restaurants but really focus a bit more on the cuisine are going to be a better option instead of larger resorts with tons of restaurants. So that's something we can really help you navigate, is picking those resorts that have an emphasis on food and beverage quality, which of course always makes for a better wedding if everyone's happy with their foods and drinks. And kind of a side note to that question is allergies, food differences. So whether it's cultural or an allergy or an intolerance or a life choice, a lot of people really shy away from all-inclusive, thinking it's not going to have what they need, whether vegan, gluten-free, or a true biggie. We have family members with seafood allergies. So traveling to the Caribbean and Mexico and you have a seafood allergy, how am I going to do this? I will be honest, I'm seeing leaps and bounds differences and improvements from the resorts on handling allergies and requests. So my own husband doesn't eat red meat, and we always kind of have to be careful with ordering certain things that have sauces and soups and things like that, have a lot of like beef base. So it's about asking the right questions. It's about picking the right restaurants. And again, the quality of the resort really makes a difference in being able to customize your meals and make sure that you're safe, number one, with allergies. We can put you in touch with food and beverage prior, and we can help you with making appointments once you arrive to meet with the team, so that way you can make sure you've got all the right stuff in place to have the perfect experience. So a legal question, and one we get often, if we're doing a symbolic ceremony abroad and a legal one at home, when should we actually legally get married and apply for a marriage license? So really, you should be legally married before you head down to your destination wedding. Most places actually require it. Even though in destination most are symbolic, most people are legally married prior to going. Up to you if you want to tell your guests or not. Some will sneak off to the courthouse a few weeks before, make it legal, do their own little celebration, and then do the big celebration down at the resort. But there are some exceptions. Places like Jamaica, the Bahamas, really easy to do a legal wedding. So when a couple comes to me and says, I want one only wedding day, then we kind of look towards those destinations because it's a simple process. Other places are still requiring translations, blood tests, long stays in that destination to make it legal. So most people will pick to do a symbolic in that case. It saves time, it saves money, it's just easier. So that, definitely get married first, have all that stuff done, and then you go down to the resort and you're legally married. This is really just the celebration that follows. But part of that question is people go, well, what's different? At the resort, no one would know. So if you choose to not tell your friends and family, that experience you're gonna have on the resort is exactly the same as you would have if it was a legal wedding. There's a few papers you don't have to sign, some of that stuff, but the actual flow of the wedding is exactly the same. It's still just a big celebration, just no paperwork to be done. Here to answer all of your pressing destination wedding questions. So a big one we're getting to, and this is hard to answer, but what are the unexpected or hidden costs that often come up with a destination wedding? I think a lot of it is the little things that you may add on. I don't think people realize how expensive photography and videography can get. Adding, things from like chair back ties to chargers to little decor items that really can add up. I think the big piece of a destination wedding is going to give up some of those little things that no one's going to notice anyway. Because I will go and look at some of our couples' wedding contracts as we get kind of towards the end, and I see things like extra hour of champagne service. I'll see just little things on the tables, like decor items. No one's gonna notice. Put that money into experiences, into fun, not to more stuff. So pull back on the stuff and focus on the experience. That will save you a ton of money. So to get to the nitty-gritty a little bit of like what we do, someone had asked the question that if I've already picked the resort, I have a room block, why do I still need to hire a destination wedding travel agent or planner? Well, yes, you've done the legwork. You've got that done. Amazing. But now you have friends and family asking questions, needing to make payments, maybe asking which room is better. What are my payment deadlines? How do I do this? I need a driver from the airport. How about flights, travel insurance, excursions? They're bugging you. Our job is to take that away. So that way, if they have questions, you just say, call my agent. Go online, send them an email, set up a Zoom with them yourself. Get all those questions out of the way. So that way they're not bugging you, and you can relax now that you've picked the perfect resort and have the room block in place, and let someone else handle your friends and family's money, their crazy questions, and then changes. At the end, we always run into not dating so-and-so anymore, or I want to add some more nights and make it a vacation, and just a lot of back and forth. So I do think even if you've already at that step, it would be valuable for you to have someone there to help and handle friends and family and all the craziness. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for planning a destination wedding, because I think that is the absolute best way to kick off the next chapter of your life. So save that money, put it towards the house or kids and all those fun things, but just celebrate you guys and do it in your style. Hi, destination wedding couples. I'm Sarah. I own Time for Travel, and we are based in Annapolis, Maryland. So we are a boutique travel agency with 5 ladies who love to just handle love and fun trips. So I'm a mom of 3 20-somethings, and I've been married for almost 28 years myself. So in 30 years, we have covered it all and love to work with couples intimately, to book their destination weddings and work with all their friends and family. I can't wait to work with you to answer all of your questions and help you in any way I can to plan that dream destination wedding.